Good afternoon.
So, Clara, what happened first when you got to know you are pregnant? Where did you go? What should you do? Would you give some tips?
Okay, so the practical tips. As soon as you get to know, which is probably like when you miss your menstruation, so let's say you are in the 5 weeks pregnant, you can be happy already with your test and you can keep repeating them to be sure, but to visit your gynecologist, they advise to wait until you're 8 weeks pregnant at least, because they say that only then they can for sure see something of the ultrasound, and also the baby heart is actually beating, which is the moment we are all waiting for. And if the heart is beating, they will give you let's say pregnancy book, which is like, you know, officially you're pregnant, they are gonna plan your visits and they will calculate your due date.
So tell about the documents that you have to have with you in order to get to the gynecologist, and then further steps.
So to get to the gynecologist, you basically just need your insurance card. So you should be insured anyway here in the Czech Republic, either privately if you are the enterpriser, or through your employer, which mostly it is like VZP.
Yeah, and also you can have your commercial insurance if you pay additional costs. There are some commercial insurance for pregnancy, especially. They are around 1,000 crowns, 100,000 crowns, I think. So it's like the third option if you don't have your employer or you don't have your governmental insurance. And so you have insurance, and then you go to a gynecologist, and then what? You have to register the hospital. Right?
Yes. That's basically what you need to do until you are 14 weeks pregnant, which is like pretty soon actually, but it's after the first trimester, right after the first trimester, which is very critical. And yeah, you know, unfortunately anything can happen within the first trimester. So you wait, and first at the gynecologist you need to book your first trimester screening, which will reveal all the potential, let's say, you know, illness, diseases of your baby, like percentage to have a Down disease, Down syndrome, or any other genetics. But yeah, nothing to worry about. They will just take your blood, see how your hormones levels are and all your iron levels and stuff like this. And the first trimester screening, you can take your partner, and it can for the first time see the baby on the ultrasound, and you know, it's very strong.
So then you go into the checkups all the time, and then you have delivery day. Your partner is it okay? Like your partner can be present during the delivery process, or what the process here in Czech Republic?
Well, so now, as we all know, during the Corona crisis, it was a little bit sad and difficult because fathers could not be present for some time during the delivery, but luckily it's already over. They can be present, but you need to pay for it. Like, people are surprised why they should pay for, but yeah, unfortunately you just have to. But it's 800 crowns, I think, everywhere pretty much, at least in Prague, if I'm not mistaken. So just to repeat, until 14 weeks pregnant, which is after the 3 months, you need to register for the hospital. So if you want to have a hospital in Prague, because around Prague you still have time until you are like, I would say 30 weeks pregnant. So that's basically, yeah, till the end. But if you want to deliver in Prague, you need to be soon like this. And yeah, it is quite serious business. Like I registered for podoli, which is famous to be, they are perfect professionals, especially when something happens. Like you don't want anything to happen during your birth, but you never know. So I wanted a podoli, and it was actually, I was lucky to have two potential due dates, because really on the day that you can register, it starts 8 a.m. but I'm telling you, within the first minute all the spots are gone. So 8 a.m. you need to be on the page, you need to have everything filled, and you need to click on registration 8 a.m. otherwise your spot is gone, because they only are accepting 12 people per day. And so first day I didn't manage, and I was totally devastated, like, oh my god, where is my podoli spot? But thanks god I had two potential due dates, 30 and 31st of August, so I could try the other day, and it happened. So like this.
And then when you deliver the baby, you say that you have to be officially married, right? So your husband can be present, or it's not. What is this kind of moment? Because your boyfriend cannot actually, right?
Well, we are not married with my boyfriend, so what we had to do and what we had to arrange before, it is also advised to do like as soon as possible, I would say. And it is like confessing that he is the father. In Czech it is called přiznání otcovství, which is like confessing of the fathership. And you do it like in the area of Prague where you live. We live Prague 11, so you found the office in your neighborhood, and you just go there. And what you have to have, if your partner is not Czech, you should have an independent translator, because all the documents are in Czech, and they need to be sure that he understood all the legal, duties and consequences that he's signing. Because they explained to me that it happened in the past that some fathers signed it and then they ran away, back to their country, and they were saying, but I don't know what I signed for. So
So then when you got your baby, you went and you were allowed to go home. Then basically you have to somehow sort out your maternity leave. So there are two helps here. First is from your employee if you are employed, and second is from government who supports you the maternity leave. So if you can tell what employee is obliged to do when you get pregnant.
Well, so I would say as first that you are not obliged to tell your employer that you are pregnant until the time that you leave with your maternity leave, which is 6 weeks before your delivery date, due date. But at the same time, I think your employer would notice your belly that is growing. So, in my point of view, it is just convenient to tell your employer after 3 months pregnant, when you are sure that everything's gone fine, and you can enjoy this more kind and soft treatment of your employer at the workspace, because your employer will just be empathic and pathetic with your sickness, for instance, and so on. So also when you are really not managing to work like full-time, they are obliged to reduce your work time to whatever you want, 50%, 75%. They have to do it, and they have to also allow you to work from home if possible. Simply, they have to make it as easy for you as possible.
And then when you deliver, you can apply for some help from them. They are obliged to pay like 70% of the salary within 5 months.
Yes, actually you have to do it before you go to maternity leave, and your doctor will sign and fill the documents for you, which you give to your HR department, and there it states like, okay, per this date she has to go with her maternity leave, and then the HR department takes care of everything, and from the first month they pay you for 6 months 70% of your salary from the past year, including your bonuses. So it's not only your salary, but average with your bonuses. So basically, in my case or in many cases, it is basically your salary for the 6 months.
Yeah.
So
And after you got some help from government, from state, you also have to fill in some forms and go somewhere to apply for that.
Yes.
Where do you?
Well, luckily you don't have to go anywhere. You can send it per post or even per mail nowadays, which is amazing help, because you have to go to the office, which is at your permanent address.
Yeah.
Which in my case is different than in Prague, and you fill in all the information, of your boyfriend or husband, of your child, of yours, and you have to deliver documents like confirmation that you are employed. My boyfriend had to do the same, and birth certificate of your child, and then you can determine yourself how much money you want to receive per month, because nowadays you get 300,000 from state, and you can spread it as you want, depends on how long you want to stay at home. So in my case, I wanted to stay all 3 years, so that means 10,000 Czech crowns per month.
Yeah. And do you go to Úřad práce, or what kind of organization is
yes.
It's
Úřad práce, so labor office. But you don't have to go there. You really can just send the documents. If they don't understand anything, they will call you. But I guess in Czech, so for foreigners it is. Yeah.
And what about birth certificate? When did you start to do it? And did you have to do some passport for the kid, or what was the step?
Well, that's a good point. Not yet. You don't have to do the passport, only when you want to travel abroad. So we should do it as soon as possible. But birth certificate, you have to pick it up as soon as possible after you give birth. So let's say they get information from the hospital that the child was born, and then the matrika. Yeah. So already before you give birth, it's very important. After this fathership, you have to say how your child is going to be named, and you fill in the document also in the hospital, and they send it to the matrika. And then it was, I think, 1 week when Mateo was 1 week old. We had to go to the matrika and pick up his birth certificate. Okay. It was in Czech language, for just Czech nationality. But if he wants the double nationality, then you have to go to the embassy.
And if you want to make him passport, also you have to go to the embassy, right?
No, not to the embassy, just to a normal office for the passport. Yeah, they make a picture of him, so it needs to be sitting already, so they can make a picture.
Yeah.
And till he looks like he looks now, it will be valid, the passport.
Nice. And afterwards, do you have some tips and tricks? What would you do if you knew everything that you know now? What would you tell yourself, let's say 2 years ago or 1 year ago, when you got pregnant, and just did you go through some challenges with that, or it's very smooth and very clear and very simple?
You mean
would you like
practically?
Would you like to warn yourself about some specific things if you knew it before?
Well, I would just do everything, let's say, earlier, because, for instance, this fathership, we were doing basically everything in the last month, which in the 9 months of pregnancy. So I was lucky he was born exactly on a due date, but if he would have been born earlier, it would have been a problem. Okay. And also, my boyfriend is Dutch, and he didn't have any citizenship here, which is very important for him to have as a father. So we were also managing that. So he only has a temporary one.
Yeah.
But if we would have been earlier, he could already have a permanent one. So those are my regrets.
Yeah, it's important for both partners to be ready with everything. Okay, thank you for talk. The tips were very valid. If you have any questions to Clara, you can type it in your comments. Sign up and stay tuned for more news, and let us know if you want us to cover some specific topics about Prague. Bye bye. Thank you, Clara. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for having me.